Welcome to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I am your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my spectacular wife, Abby.
Hello.
And we're also joined, as always, by our also spectacular producer, Adam Marino. Adam, what up?
This is true.
And finally today, as you can see in his brightly colored pink shirt, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, you can check it out on YouTube. But if you're just listening, it is very bright. You might even be able to hear it.
Yeah.
That bright. But this is Ryan Keirns. Ryan is back with us in studio. We had Ryan on a few weeks ago, and he did such a great job. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thanks. Kind of my tournament director shirt, so I'm easy to find.
I love it. That's right. That's how it should be. Tournament director Ryan is the director. I call you the director of pickleball at Wildwood, but it's the
pickleball coordinator. Yeah. Same difference.
Yeah, same difference.
Assistant to
the director. Office reference.
Yeah.
Good. Nice job.
no, I made that up.
Oh, you did? Yeah. You're so funny.
Yeah, I know.
But we want to bring Ryan back just to talk today about just pickleball in general and the growth of pickleball that we've seen, especially recently, but kind of through a local lens, how it's grown even here locally. We're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But I think Ryan will have a lot to kind of contribute to this conversation. So thanks again for joining us, Ryan.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Let's start with a fun question. I always like to kind of keep it light to start with. Let's pretend that Adam here, with the just stacks of money, like Scrooge McDuck, is that what his name was in DuckTales?
DuckTales.
Yeah.
Woo.
Love it. Let's say he just wrote you a check for $10 million, and it had to be spent on something related to pickleball. You can divide it up, but it has to all be pickleball related. How are you spending that money?
Wow, how am I spending that money?
Wow.
I have to call up my brother, the financial guy, but
Because you want to be wise with us. That's a good choice.
Yeah, so I don't know how this would all
Right.
split up, but so I would like to expand Wildwood one bay that is pickleball only.
Okay, nice.
I like where you're going with
one
that.
bay pickleball only.
And that'd be 8 more courts then.
That'd
Is
be
that-
at least 8 more.
Okay, you might be
whatever
able to squeeze
whatever would fit,
Dream big, Ryan.
Dream big.
Dream
Yeah.
big.
I guess if the bay was the same size, you might be able to
Could
get
have
like
2.
you might be able to get one more court on each side of the net. So you might
Okay.
be able to get like 10 at that
Yeah.
size. So
Okay.
so something like that. Some sort of chicken and pickle
Ooh.
entity in the
Nice.
North River property,
Ooh, nice.
or
Wait, where?
like probably the North River property, that area, or and I've mentioned it before, and comment that Adam made brought it up is Hop River has an ideal. They own the entire block. They own their entire block. Now, I know they use a lot of that stuff for parking, but
So you would buy them?
no, I wouldn't want to buy it. No, I wouldn't want to ever run a restaurant or
Yeah.
anything like that. But I think just the concept of a pickleball restaurant, brew pub, and a lot of them have other outdoor kind of games. In fact, I think it just was on Facebook a while back. Place in Cincinnati area is getting.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but some
Cincinnati's
sort
been
of
doing-
some sort of chicken and pickle
Yeah.
type thing. So.
That's awesome.
And then
Great idea.
I think you're out of money.
I mean, no, I
Yeah.
feel
Like,
keep
how
going,
much?
keep
are
going.
our sponsors listening so that
so
we
then-
can
so-
provide
right.
so
money?
then the third and final thing, and this will kind of talk a little bit about our growth, is the equipment for the schools.
yeah.
Nets are expensive, and even when we do the grants, that's one thing we do on the Fort Wayne Pickleball Association board. $350 grants for schools.
Yeah.
Gets you a few nets, but the shipping alone is like well over $50 or $60. So that eats up a good chunk of your $350 grant. And,
Right.
Would you start elementary, or would you do high school first?
I would go high school, middle school as an elementary PE teacher.
That's crazy.
It's a little chaotic.
Paddles,
Well, plus
yeah.
now the at least 4 of the 5 local high schools do have pickleball lines on. At least part of Fort Wayne community schools have pickleball lines on their tennis courts.
I saw them at Snyder not too long ago.
So they do have
Yeah.
that. So just more equipment and training for the schools, because that's going to be one of the keys to
Love it.
growing it, get the
Yeah.
younger population going, and maybe it becomes like a club IHSA
Yeah.
sport. I think it'd way too early for it to ever be like
Down the
a
road.
varsity IHSA sport.
Right. But like lacrosse and
And
like
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of that.
something like that.
Yeah.
So
and when
yeah.
you introduce the kids to it, then there's other generations. Then mom's like, oh, I can do this. And then grandpa's
Right.
like, hold on, I can do this too. So we
Right.
got like multiple generations here.
That would be so awesome.
And that leads us perfectly into my next question was, what is it about pickleball? I mean, what made you fall in love with it? What, in your opinion, makes pickleball unique and so great?
Well, like I mentioned previously, like I came from a tennis background, and the strengths of my tennis game were not big serve, big forehand. It was more the consistency, placement, creativity, angles, and that's at least for what draws me to it.
Yeah.
Personally, as far as what makes it great for everyone is just how accessible it is, because my youngest son's a freshman, and he's had some tennis lessons. He's played now a year of varsity tennis, but he's still, there's a lot of chinks in the game there, and it takes a long time to get pretty good at tennis, and a lot of practice with especially the serve, to not only develop it but turn it into the weapon it needs to be in tennis.
Yeah.
Whereas at pickleball, if you have some basic hand-eye coordination, you
Yeah.
hit a few balls, you can get a serve in, and we can get going.
Yeah.
So it lends itself to the the older population, the younger population. The court's so much smaller.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
our 6-year-old can hold a paddle pretty easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's lighter tennis rackets, so hear me that I don't know anything about tennis, but but my kids can dink around in the basement. They
Yeah.
can't play tennis in the basement.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, even if you took your tennis game to a pickleball size court,
Yeah.
because of the nature of the pickleball versus the tennis ball, you're going to get more rallies and more hits with the pickleball. With tennis, it's just going to be over in 2 or 3 shots, because it's just so hard to control it, especially if you're on the beginner level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It makes it more accessible, that there's more action. It's not, big serve, big forehand, points over, or hit or hit a serve into the net, and you walk up to the net and pick up your ball, walk back to the baseline. Okay, second serve, hit a couple shots, and you go chase your balls down again on the big court. You're ready to play the next point. There's just so much downtime compared to pickleball.
It's just
where
more
it's
action on the
Yep.
pickleball court.
More action, more
More
social.
exercise.
Yeah.
I feel like is it fair to say it's even more like rowdy? Is it rowdier on the pickleball court?
Dare I say, rowdy?
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. I mean,
we're laughing. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have
Oh,
like
yeah.
that whole quiet.
yeah.
Yeah.
I come from a golf background, so I'm not, say when I say this in love, but tennis, like golf, is kind of more of a snobby sport, right? Yeah. Am I offending some listeners?
I'm
sorry.
offended.
I apologize. But pickleball definitely has much more of a
Like,
jovial
social
kind of,
aspect.
social aspect. What is it you think about tennis, or do you feel like that's changing? Maybe is a better question. That it used to feel like pickleball was like a bad word to tennis players. Do you feel like that's becoming less of a thing, or do you think there's?
I think it's becoming less of a thing. It does still seem like certain tennis people just don't think highly of it, so they don't want to get involved. I think there's other people that I still play a lot of tennis, so where would I have the time for pickleball? I think it's kind of like us and all of our other endeavors. And you mentioned golf, like you probably don't play golf as much anymore because golf takes so much of your time. And it's
Hardly
like,
ever, yeah.
and the way I am, it's like, well, I only have 2 hours, so would I go play 9 holes? Would I go play a little bit of tennis? No, I go play pickleball. That's how I'm going to do my 2 hours. I don't have 20 20 hours to play with during my week, or even even if I had 8 or 9 hours, it'd still probably be pickleball.
And I've talked about this before too. Do you feel this way, where it's like pickleball? I feel like I'm still improving, and I don't see. I feel like I will continue to improve well into my 50s. Whereas I'm never going to be the basketball player I was in my mid-20s.
I'm never going to run as fast as I did
Right.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Is that kind of one reason you made the shift as well? I mean, being an accomplished tennis player like you were.
Yeah, that was part of it too. I mean, just the way, like I said, tennis has changed to being a just bigger type of game, and I was running into kids in the city tournament that were like half my age,
Right.
and
Could
it's
run
like,
all day.
It's like, and they just hit a lot harder than me too. It's like, oh, this isn't as much fun.
Yeah.
So
And Abby says it's a good workout, and I agree with that. Can it be both a good workout and easier on your body? Is that fair to say? It's both, or do you feel like it's tennis at a higher level? Maybe it's a better workout.
I think there's definitely more pounding. in tennis.
In tennis.
I would
play.
I would say when I'm actually playing tennis, that there'd be a few points where you're really huffing and puffing, but at the end of the evening in tennis, I'd be a lot more sore.
Would you? Yeah.
Definitely a lot more sore.
Yeah.
It was like if I played like a city tournament, like
because
singles match, like 2.5 hours or something like that, I'd be pretty sore.
Yeah, I feel like when I see people playing tennis, they are playing singles, and when you play pickleball, you play doubles.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask.
So
yeah, that's true. That's
there
a
is
good point there. That doubles in tennis isn't as tiring, and similarly singles in pickleball. Like the last couple of times I've played some singles, it's kind of done me in the next day.
Oh yeah,
and
I did
still
it one
feeling
time.
it the day after.
Yeah, yep, because it's still.
It's a good
Yeah.
workout. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So take us back to when you first started playing pickleball. Did you ever imagine it would be what it is now, or did you kind of have a vision for this? Just kind of talk about the chart of pickleball seems to be just growing exponentially right now. Did you see that coming?
No, not at all. And like when I first started playing, I didn't consider myself any kind of historian or expert. I was just kind of like, okay, well, want to get better at this game. I really like the game and that sort of thing. And I think it just a lot of the people that kind of do know a little more of the history are probably cite COVID, and that's probably a good. A good reason for it kind of blowing up, because we even were doing stuff in our driveway like that. I think my brothers and mom, they got nets in their driveway. They weren't like official pickleball nets, but it was like, okay, it's something to do. What can we do?
Right.
We're in our house all day. We're not supposed to associate with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
That's our story.
What can we do outside here where we can kind of mingle and it's stay in our little group.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I remember the CDC chart that came out with like safe sports, and pickleball was like the #1 safe sport because the ball was plastic, and that doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't hold COVID.
It can hit you in the face pretty hard.
Yeah,
and still be okay.
And you're right, and so you're not too close to your people anyways, and so
interesting. I don't remember that.
That cracked me
that's
up.
Cool. Yeah. So what's your vision for the future of it? Do you see it continuing to grow? Do you think we're going to kind of level off? Some people talk about it becoming, like just an absolutely enormous sport. Do you kind of temper that a little bit?
Because didn't this happen to racquetball at a time? I mean, racquetball exploded at a time, but now it's.
And then it just kind of.
So is that? I
leveled
mean, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see it still growing. Will it ever be as like mainstream as tennis? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe part of it's tennis has so much like history on its side and
Sure.
and whatever. I mean, pickleball's occasionally got onto CBS or CBS Sports, and but it, I think it'll just keep growing. It just may not be. It may not be like one of the quote unquote main sports. Like the sports equinox happens in this time of year when you have all the major sports on.
Right.
But I think it'll just keep growing. I mean, as populations kind of gets older, I think a lot of the tennis people and maybe other basketball types will shift gears that still want an outlet for doing something athletic, doing something competitive, doing something social. It's still very appealing.
Yeah, I mean, is it fair to say I feel like it's the sport that's going to have the biggest amateur population. Like you're right, it might not blow up huge pro.
There's a difference when we talk about playing it versus like watching it, and that's where the big money comes in for like broadcast deals and things like that. And it is, as much as I love pickleball, it's one of those sports where I've videotaped enough of my playing where I'm like, oh, that was an amazing point. I can't wait to go back and watch it. And you watch it and you're like, it wasn't quite as exciting as it felt.
It doesn't
and maybe that's
televise well. Yeah,
that's me. But I would say the more people play it and the more they're involved in it, then they do come to appreciate. I mean, in the last month or two, I remember there was a shot that a gal hit that was like kind of behind her head.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That nobody had ever done before.
Yeah.
And so people are inventing new shots, and
Yeah.
and then if you have the experience of playing, then you come to appreciate that. So maybe the watchability increases as more people play.
Well,
But
if you do
I
stuff
think-
like that increase. I mean, that was incredible.
I don't know. I can't get my arms back there. But
Right.
I just feel like the amateur population though is going to sustain it.
Yeah. This is a huge sidebar, but in that point, you're a rules expert. it hit her hair as she kind of went across.
It
Or at
did. You're
least it
right. Her
looked like
ponytail. Yeah.
her ponytail. At least her paddle did. Maybe the ball didn't make contact. But if that ball would have made contact with her hair, that would have been
Yeah,
fall,
yeah.
right?
If it would have hit her hair either before paddle or after paddle, it would have technically been dead at that
yeah.
point in time.
And
but
maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it just kind of looked like it. But
If we can find the clip, we should put it in the show notes.
we should do that.
Okay.
Well, now we have to.
Well, now we have to.
We'll find that.
We
Put
will
it in the
find
show
that
notes.
clip.
Yeah.
And
So
then people can weigh in on their opinions.
this is why I shaved my head, because
Because your hair was getting in
now
the way.
never have to worry about
Now
that.
you don't have to worry about it. Your beard, though. You gotta
Yeah.
be careful with the beard.
So, question for you guys: Olympics,
I know. So okay, from what I understand, it needs to be in 75 countries.
And it's
we're
in-
at 70.
yeah,
That's
they're,
what I
they're getting
understand.
close. There are rumors of it being like a demonstration sport. One rumor was maybe Los Angeles because the U.S. then has like control over some potential demonstration sports, but
And that's
Interesting.
20. When is that? 20,
that
28?
28 maybe.
Interesting.
But that might even be too soon. I don't know. It.
That's insane to even think.
I do
that-
feel like once it's an Olympic sport, if that happens, that will be a threshold.
Oh, for sure.
It will be, but those sports are weird because like baseball and softball, I think both came and went away, and I don't
Yeah.
even know what their current status is. Maybe they're
Right,
both
they-
back, and
Interesting.
yeah.
it's just kind of weird. I don't
Right,
know.
and curling, I don't know. Like, what is that?
I've heard that's pretty fun.
I would actually like to do that.
that'd be one-
There's a club
that
in
would
Fort
be
Wayne.
that would be kind of like a pickleball-esque kind of.
Do you want to be the
Right.
sweeper?
Have some beverages and
Yeah.
you know.
Go curling. Let's do it.
Frothy beverages. Yeah.
Let's do it.
For sure. All right. You are listening to the One More Game podcast. We're joined by Ryan Keirns. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back. Come join the fun at pickleballrocks.com, your trusted authority when it comes to all your pickleball needs. Apparel, paddles, bags, hats, you name it, you'll find it there. Family owned and operated for nearly 15 years.
Matt and I are growth pros for Pickleball Rocks, and for being a loyal listener of the One More Game podcast, we can offer you a 15% discount at checkout when you use the code MATB15. So head over to pickleballrocks.com and check it out. Let's play.
All right, welcome back. We are again joined by Ryan Keirns, who, do we call him the GOAT of?
I do,
think,
for sure.
Yeah, we're just going to go with that.
Two-time champion,
Tennis.
Hall of
but a two-timer now for the One More Game podcast.
That's right.
The first in history.
Yeah, maybe that's a good question.
Guys.
So that is a piece of trivia.
What are you more proud of?
let's be honest.
Don't answer that.
Yeah, just
so before, don't crush her.
don't hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
On
very,
camera.
Very sensitive. Before the break, we were talking about the growth of pickleball and maybe talk about how do we continue to see it grow? How have we seen it grow both locally here? Maybe talk about that because in our area in Fort Wayne, we've seen a tremendous growth. But even as you've traveled or been to other places or heard about other cities, what do we have to do to continue to grow the game of pickleball?
Well, I do think it's definitely growing, and the facilities are the key. I know I get maybe shamed as a Wildwood homer, but I would say that,
okay.
that Wildwood embracing pickleball was one of the first steps, because for the people that work weekdays 9 to 5 in the wintertime, there really weren't too many options. Maybe
Right.
a church here and there.
YMCA.
Yeah, YMCA. But to be honest, like at least most serious pickleball people prefer the pickleball / tennis court surface, which Wildwood's the only place indoors in town that has that.
Yeah.
So I think that was
And not only the surface, but you show up at a church on a random Tuesday night, you don't know who you're going to play with. If you're wanting to get better and play with stronger people, you can put your own games together at a place like Wildwood.
Yeah, true. And there's better spacing, light, the whole bit. So
Yeah.
that was one step. And then, just within the last couple months, the Fort Wayne Park Department and New Haven, which would be like Adams Township or something like that, coming through. I think it started with New Haven, did Jury Park, with their 4 courts there. They had the community center, and then the park department already had this in the works, but they had a little more red tape. But 6 new courts at Foster Park when they converted a couple tennis courts, 6 at Hamilton Park, 6 at Lakeside Park, 4 at Kettler Park. They put lines at Tillman Park. Not a lot of people, but they utilize the tennis nets out there because
Gotcha. And that's not ideal.
It's not ideal, but it's another
It's
option.
better than nothing.
So I think 30 was the number they came up with.
Wow.
That they basically increased 30 courts, which really before the Fort Wayne Park Department really only had 4 Lions Park, and then
Wow.
there are
That's
lines
insane.
there where you can put a portable net and have
Yeah.
5, but there were only 4 that was part of the park department. Now we all know that Indian Trails, great facility with 8
But
courts
they're a
out
Boyd
there.
Township,
Yeah,
right?
and they're a Boyd Township,
Yeah.
so it's a little different. So the city of Fort Wayne
Yeah.
finally kind of stepped up and came through, and
Yeah.
I think they're adding lights to Lakeside is something I heard.
Ooh.
Foster
Oh, wow.
Park already
That'd
has
be
lights, so
awesome.
that's a nice game changer because in the fall
Yeah.
it gets darker.
Jury's
it
the
gets
only
dark
place to
early.
go
Yeah,
at
Jury's the
night,
only
yeah.
place to go. So I think that's going to be big because like I live near Foster Park, and there's a lot of people that live near these parks walking by, and you might just like stumble across like
Sure.
what are they doing out there?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you know we've had numerous people that kind of stop and watch, and they're like, oh, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's kind of part of growing it. Like people don't know what pickleball is, and
Right.
you see it being played, and everybody like most of these parks, like I said, you can walk, ride your bike,
And they'll see various
family
ages
friendly.
too.
Yeah.
They'll see like some. I mean, we were at the park the other day, and we see like all these 20-somethings playing. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah. They look pretty good.
Yeah,
They just need a little bit of coaching.
right. But then we see like the 70-year-olds too. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. They feel like, oh, there's every age here.
Yeah. So
I can do that.
and that's great, and big props to the Parks Department for doing that. Let's maybe shift the focus a little bit locally. The one thing I think is lacking is we've traveled or we've seen on Facebook, in different groups we're in, a lot of cities putting in big complexes. We were in Las Vegas earlier this year, and Sunset Park there, 24 courts, beautiful facility.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, they probably play outdoors 12 months a year.
Absolutely.
So
And so, yeah, so
it's
that-
trickier here.
Yeah. So, are there any places that you've been or that you would really highlight is kind of a model that kind of for that next step for Fort Wayne? And what does it take to do that? Does it just take a rich donor to come in and do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been talk I know about Indian Trails, putting in another 8 courts or something like that. But it would be nice to have 12 to 16 or more at one outdoor venue where you could play a bigger tournament. I mean, one of my favorite tournaments and a place that has it, Grand Rapids, Belknap Park, where they play Beer City, great tournament, and they're up to maybe 20
And they keep
courts
growing.
there on
Yeah,
the
that's
site.
fun.
They keep growing it. So
Yeah.
and I know Grand Rapids is a little bit bigger city than Fort Wayne, but not too much bigger.
Right.
So
But climate-wise, you're talking.
yeah,
the
climate.
same,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're-
they're the
I mean
same.
it's colder. They probably have one less month out of the year than we do as
Right.
far as
Yeah.
nice weather. And I know Cincinnati, I think, recently put in a bunch of outdoor courts near
Like right-
downtown near the river there.
Yeah. And they probably get tons of
They're
snow.
once again a little bigger city, but
Yeah.
Sure.
similar climate. And
Yeah, I think it's just going to take the perfect storm
Yeah.
at some point for.
We'd probably, but I'd like to see another indoor facility though in
Yeah.
Fort Wayne.
Well, don't say that to Ryan.
I'm sorry, but do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Don't be giving
No.
Ryan competition.
never mind. Forget I said any of that.
we just go back to my thought before about expanding.
Right,
Expanding
there you
to some
go. Well,
That's what I
pickleball
meant.
day.
That's
Pickleball-
that's
Yep.
what,
yeah,
That's what I meant.
A pickleball day.
we
Just,
just.
just edit that out, Adam.
That's right.
I didn't say that.
All right. Well, let's talk kind of about the pro series. When we talk about the growth of the game, I think you could call it like tour wars going on. Kind of maybe explain to our listeners who may not know much about that. You've got the APP, the PPA, MLP. What's kind of your take on all of that?
Yeah, it is quite interesting, and then the other dynamic is that almost everybody but the PPA are eligible to play in the MLP. So there are people that play MLP and APP.
And that was because of
and-
some contracts.
yeah,
that-
contracts. So there are certain pros that are under contract where they are PPA only, and then there's other people
And
that
some
can
of
play.
and that's some of the top.
That's some of the
pros.
top people.
Yeah.
That's your Ben Johns, your Annalise, that sort of thing. But one interesting thing, I don't know if I share with you, that I heard from somebody that said, what if Anna Lee ever wanted to just play hardball with PPA and just say,
What are you going to do?
what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go play this tournament.
Right.
What are you gonna do? I'm the face of women's
Right.
pickleball
For the
and
next
I'm
20 years.
15
Right,
and I'm
right,
15 years
yeah.
old.
Yeah.
What are you gonna
Right,
do?
yeah.
How much are you? I don't know how much they're really paying.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Anna Lee, if you're listening,
yeah.
Come on our show.
Yeah.
come on our show.
Yeah, so
Drive.
The word is for next year that the PPA people may get out of their contracts to play in the MLP, but then there's also word that the MLP's format's going to change to where it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday is like a normal tournament, and then on Sunday is reserved for their like team format. And after being at the MLP event in Columbus way back in October or whatever, it's like. It was just electric all 3 days. I mean, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was just
that's awesome.
It was just great atmosphere, and the pros are you got people cheering you on. I mean, obviously, pickleball's a little different that you might still root for somebody that you're not playing with or whatever.
Right.
But it just the team concept.
Absolutely.
And
it's like the Ryder Cup.
That looked
in
so
golf,
fun.
Right?
That MLP event looked so fun.
Yeah, so it was, and even the opponents that are watching, you see somebody hit a great shot, they're gonna say, they're like, oh man, nice shot, so.
And the cool part about that, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where the money's the highest stakes too. I mean, so they're playing for $100,000.
Yeah, it was $100,000 split 4 ways. So that I think that was, as far as
Which
I know,
is
the
bigger
highest purse out there. I mean, I know Ben Johns, most people might have some appearance fees, but probably not in that range for one given tournament. So.
Right, and I feel like I'm seeing like basketball players buying MLP teams.
Yes.
Right. I mean, so we've got. I don't even know. Like LeBron James.
Talk about some goats, right?
Like we've got some big guys. Investing in MLP.
LeBron.
I feel like
Kevin
that's
Durant, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And still one more team they haven't announced yet.
It's me, guys.
And Abby Brandenburger.
Talk to me, Goose.
Hey, I have to tell you about our bank account.
Uh-oh.
No, we don't have any money.
Oh.
I bought an MLP.
I thought you just got a notification on your phone. Or something.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
bought an MLP team.
I'll edit this out. Like, oh no, it's here. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Oh, it's Abby trying to be funny, guys.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. Sorry.
She laughs at her own jokes.
It's a great life.
So yeah, MLP though I would say is the one we have not been to. We've played in a PPA and an APP couple.
I got thoughts about that.
Yeah, we don't need to get into all that.
No, we don't.
Do you have a dog in the fight though?
I mean, not real. I mean, from a player perspective, as far as playing, I don't think it's any contest that the APP over the PPA is more player friendly for the Joes that want to play. The amateurs that want to play in these tournaments. Now, like right now, MLP, at least in its current configuration, is just pros only. So I mean, it's just more of a spectator sport for people like us. But but the APP seems to get most of the senior pros going to those events. PPA offers senior pro, but it's not a very deep field, it seems like. So at least at this point in time, I don't, it seems like the APP, a lot of the top senior pros are playing that. Yeah. Obviously the bigs, the Ben Johns of the world have to play PPA, and people like JW that are still like free agents out there can come and go and play both. Yeah. But yeah, from our perspective as amateurs, the APP over the PPA events, no doubt.
Absolutely. And I definitely would like, I think in our bucket list for 2023, we need to get to a MLP event.
For sure. That looked so fun.
Unless you buy the team. And then
Well, I did.
Okay. You did. So. Okay. All right. This is good stuff. We always like to end with something fun. So we got a little game for you. This is called Either Or. You going to help out?
No, you can do it. You're doing a great job.
Okay.
You lit up like a Christmas tree.
It looks so fun, guys. I kind of want to play.
Yeah. Well, you can give your opinion too.
Or I should say you lit up like Ryan's shirt.
All right. So I'm going to give you two choices. Okay. And you just, whatever you.
Instinct, Ryan. Instinct.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So drive or dink?
Oh, dink.
Yeah. That was
I knew that. I knew you were going to say that.
That was an easy one.
Right.
Not everybody we play with, though, would say that. We won't name names.
I will.
Me.
Adam. Spin was not an option.
Yes, spinach.
Coke or Pepsi?
Water.
Whoa, look at that. Healthy guy.
I'd still drink pop occasionally, but I've pretty much cut it out a few years ago.
I feel like he's more like
I thought he was going to say
IPA
beer.
or
yeah,
that would have been a better.
Different frothy.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if I'd have been thinking, I definitely should have done a
back
beer
in the day.
choice.
Back in the day, it was probably more Pepsi than Coke. But
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's disgusting.
There you go.
Shut up.
Left side or right side?
Oh, left side.
Yeah. But you don't You don't mind putting your time in on the right side though
No, I
as
don't.
well. You did.
You do.
I do. Though.
There was a game. You don't remember it, but I do. There was a game this summer that we were losing. We were down 10-0.
What?
Is that Foster Park?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember it.
And I was like, "Can we just stack?"
Yeah.
So
And
I was on the
he's
right
like,
side. He's on the
"Absolutely."
left, and he's like, "Yeah." We came back and won.
Oh,
No way. Down
Uh-huh.
10-0.
It was wonderful.
the-
And I was like, "We should probably stack." But
that sounds fake. 11-0.
that's a real story.
Ten
And it
games,
might, but it
10-0.
might have been the final score. I don't remember. Might have been 12-10. I mean, it might have
But
been
I'm-
13-11.
oh,
I don't
I
know.
say.
Yeah, I think we may have gone beyond
I think it
11,
might-
but
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do remember coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice job. You even remembered Foster Park. That's hilarious. We were talking about GOATs earlier. Jordan or LeBron?
I mean, Jordan's the best. Because I didn't like the Bulls, I was kind of a Jordan hater at the
Same,
time. But I
same.
mean, he just got the killer instinct. I
Yeah.
mean, I like LeBron's like overall game and
Yeah.
But as a human, he's
crazy longevity. I mean, like, jeez, but Jordan's the best.
Yeah.
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 Okay. I'd agree. Chicago pizza or New York style? Or are you going to go water again?
Peanut butter and jelly.
I go
salad.
800 degrees wood fired pizza. No,
Oh, I like that.
no
Good
so
choice.
I'd probably lean toward the New York style. I mean, I don't mind it thick like that, but
Yeah, it gets
Probably
a
New
little
York style.
choky.
My kids, when we went to New York, they were like pizza for like $1.50 or something like that on the streets. That was like, hey,
Yeah.
do you guys want to go to this restaurant? No, we just want the pizza.
Right.
We
Yeah.
want the pizza.
Have you had Big Apple Pizza?
I was just
here
gonna
in
say,
Fort Wayne?
shout out to Big
Yeah, that's
Apple
one of the
Pizza.
ones they
So
love.
good,
We normally,
yeah.
sometimes we have to get the big hogger one. Just
Yeah.
'cause,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so good.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Mixed or men's?
Men's.
Abby's
Oh, you see
offended.
more balls.
Very fair.
Wait, okay. There's a better opportunity to see more.
Yeah.
We got to be careful how
See
we
more
phrase
shots.
that.
See more
Okay.
shots. See more shots.
Shots.
Edit button.
I caught myself. I was like, wait a second.
That was
Is that a good one?
amazing.
We're not deleting that out. It took you a second to even get it.
So when we
No, I didn't know if I was allowed to laugh. I got it
okay.
right away.
So when we edit, when we put this on YouTube, there's an edit button that says, "Is this made for kids?"
Oh,
and I
no.
remember Abby first asking me, "What do we click here?" And it's not that we say no because we're like crazy, but if you put yes, it puts the show like for like little kids. But this one's definitely not for
Gotcha.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's a good one. Spin serve or ban it?
You were
You offended Abby the last time. Are you going to offend me?
No, I'm torn on this one because part of me is like, you
What's
know,
the deal with
if
that?
you want to work on it and make it part of your game, sure. For me, I've dabbled with it and didn't have a lot of success, so I guess I'm fine with them banning it because
Yeah.
it
doesn't affect you.
It helps me more.
Yeah,
I guess.
okay, yeah.
But
Makes
that's
sense.
that's not fair. That's not good enough reason. I feel like
Do you think it's political? I tend to think, and I'm somebody who loves a spin serve. I use it, and I really it's being so. If you don't know, in 2023 it'll be no
Well,
longer.
you can't spin it
Can't
with your
sp-
hand. You
can't
can spin it
your
with
hand.
a paddle.
You can still
right.
You
but
can
that-
still
still
like cut
add,
it, but
yeah.
you still can't. You can't put a spin on the
Yeah.
ball
Right.
prior to hitting
So
it.
And that-
first
that's
they
the whole point.
banned the Zane
Chainsaw.
saw,
Yeah.
and now they've banned
Yeah.
that.
And so, as somebody who has used it effectively, it will fundamentally change my game. It will not. I will not be as good of a player on January 1st as I was. the
Oh
day
yes,
before.
you will, baby.
Okay. Oh, that was kind of. You've never called me baby.
I've
like
never
before.
done that.
That's
That
kinda
was
weird.
super weird.
do you need us to leave the room?
No.
Like, me and-
But I do feel like it's somewhat political. I feel like Ben Johns is not a fan of it because he doesn't do it, and other people had kind of caught him because of it, and I just feel like he was
Do you
a
think
lot of
he-
the voice behind.
yeah, but
Interesting.
who
I don't
cares
know
if he
if that's
doesn't like
fair or
it? He's just one guy.
No, he's the guy though. That's what I'm saying. It's
That's what I
political.
don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it is what it is, and I've accepted it.
Well, the wording why they banned it though does seem a little suspect when they're like people have not mastered this. Like, well, there's a lot of things I haven't
Well,
mastered.
too
So ban
bad.
it all.
Right.
Why don't we just give everyone a medal then? How about that?
Right. So the wording was very interesting.
See, I don't like
thought.
that. No, not a
I
fan
agree.
of that.
Okay. Hat or headband or neither? What do you usually play?
I definitely don't do headband. I prefer not to do hat, but for outdoor sun protection, not a lot of hair on top, I kind of switch into hat, try to be a little more sun conscious.
See, I'm not
fair.
so much sun conscious. I'm like just like a
Sweaty.
sweaty beast. I have to wear a hat. And
I sweat a
multiple.
decent amount too, but
Well-
I just feel like the heat just like
Does it?
Yeah, I don't like
collects
hats
on my head.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're taking everyone's balls and not letting them play, you will work up more than a
I
sweat than
know.
the
I'm
average
just
person.
standing there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, true.
Stop doing that.
All right, so you win the toss.
Ooh.
Server side.
Is it windy or not?
Yeah, are there
I
factors?
think a lot of it varies. I think if you ask a lot of people that they probably don't really care too much as far as serve first or receive first with the whole one serve and then two type of thing. Like singles, obviously serve. I'll rephrase that. Most of the time I'm serving first. One exception would have been this summer at Beer City where it was just super windy, a north-south wind.
Yeah.
Had to take the side. If all things being equal outside, like no wind, no whatever, I'd probably serve first just because I want to try to score first. Pressure's on them. They first screw up, it's going to cost you a point rather than just cost you a side out type of thing. But if there are certain factors with the vision or court layout where it's a little tighter on one side, I'm gonna start on the cruddy side and finish on the good side.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Ruby Tuesdays or TGI Fridays?
Is this 1995?
What?
I would have said Ruby Tuesdays, but I think they're closed now in town.
they're
I don't
done,
know,
yeah.
Is TGI Fridays still
They
open
both
at the mall?
are. They're
they're
both
both-
done.
They
They're
both
done.
I thought that's why you said that.
Right.
They're
I
both
actually-
done, so
Right.
pretend they're both back.
But Ruby Tuesday still exists elsewhere. Like there's one in Warsaw or whatever, but
Okay.
probably lean that way because you get a free burger on your birthday there.
Do you?
And the
Oh, yeah.
salad bar
Interesting.
is
Didn't know that.
fire.
Here's the
Salad
reason.
bar.
Oh yeah, their salad bar.
I don't know
fire
that I've
too,
ever
yeah.
been to Ruby
Do you know why I
Tuesdays.
asked
Yeah.
that question?
I don't.
Because I remember reading one time, if you want to know somebody's politics,
Oh,
one side, and we're not going to say. 'cause
I thought
we're
it was
not
Max.
talking
I thought that was
politics.
Max and Irma's.
No, I remember it was Ruby's. There were several of them, but
Okay.
one of them was Ruby's
I never
versus
heard that
TJ.
one.
All right, last
Where
one.
do the Democrats eat?
Yeah.
I just want to know.
I'm not telling you
Okay.
because we're not talking politics here.
Okay.
So weird.
We're the Democrats. Last question. What is more satisfying
Ooh.
for you, Ryan Keirns?
I feel like this needs a caveat though.
Yeah, a little bit. The body bag or the ATP?
Hold on. Who did you body bag? This guy.
No, that was a pretty good question. I would say probably more an ATP,
Yeah.
or actually I'd even one up, but I think an Ernie.
Okay.
Ooh.
I almost put that
Yeah.
in there.
Yep.
I would say Ernie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ernie on the right, the left side or the right side?
I would say actually to do one on the right with left-handed.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
Do one on the right side
Ooh.
left-handed.
little
And then you're ambidextrous.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be. But I mean, you end up hitting people all the time. I mean, I guess if it was somebody who maybe
Right.
made a bad call or something in a
Right.
in a tournament and you got them maybe, but I don't know.
You sometimes feel
ATP or
bad.
an Ernie like
Yeah,
would
I
be
would
more
agree with that.
satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, and with it, that's a good point. With an Ernie, you've probably set it up or you've noticed something. Sometimes people just give you an ATP, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they hit it so wide and
Right.
it's wide open.
I can't do an Ernie. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
Oh,
I need
was
top.
gonna say. I thought you were gonna say you can't do an ATP. I
Or
said you just
that.
need to play against Coyle.
Our buddy Jeff Coyle, shout out to him. He likes to hit it very wide.
Okay, next time.
Yeah.
I need to figure out that timing now. Maybe that's
he
my
is the Stockton to my Malone.
That's right. The assist man.
I like it. I like it.
All right. Hey, Ryan, thanks again for joining us. A lot of fun. We're going to have you back again sometime.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. for
Three-peat.
Sure. Yeah. We go for the three-peat at some point.
Just like Saturday Night Live, where I have to like come and tell them how many times
yeah.
I've been the host.
We'll
or
give you a
whatever.
jacket.
Yeah,
You
there
get a
go.
jacket,
You're
the
gonna be the
5-timer.
Alec Baldwin. Is he
You'll
like
be a
the
5-timer,
most?
yeah.
You'll be the Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin of
Steve
our
Martin
podcast.
and-
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He's probably
John
John
Candy.
Goodman, Justin Timberlake, all
Yeah.
those guys have done it.
for sure.
Oh, wow.
So, all right. Well, thanks again for joining us. This is One More Game, and we will see you next time. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Indiana Physical Therapy, and Pickleball Rocks. In addition, a big thank you to our production company, Coraggio Media, and the 95.7 WELT studio in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number 1 More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the word. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family nonsense, and also some great discussion. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.